Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 80 of the Clutch Dump. I'm Nicholas Patty, joined by Ben Walther. I'm selling a Porsche and buying a Honda. Ben drives a piece of shit Camaro, and we're going to talk about all of the racing that happened this last weekend in the world of motorsports all around the world. So make sure to buckle up. Follow us on social media at the Clutch Dump on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, NicholasPatty21. Follow us on YouTube at the Clutch Dump Pod. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss when these episodes go live. Because guess what? It's never the same day. We're busy. This is a passion project.
Sorry.
Get off of us.
It happens. It bothers us too. It's okay.
Make sure to follow us on any and all podcasting platforms that you listen on, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or otherwise.
20 years of trying, 20 years.
And Senna sprints away.
On the straight, Rossi's right in behind Lorenzo.
The 101st Indianapolis 500 is won by Takuma Sato. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
Have spent the last 15 minutes looking at imported Japanese cars.
Yes, none of which we're going to buy.
As much as it hurts me, we're not going to be talking about them this episode.
No, we could scrap Motorsport, though. We don't have to. We could throw it away.
Should we?
No. Would you like to? We could throw it away. I'm happy to throw away a Motorsport episode.
I kind of want to. I mean, all that happened was F1, I think. No, not even that. It was
we had no Formula One. It was all two-wheeled, and we had 3 motorcycle races, a rally race, and a NASCAR race. So guys, you maybe watched one race. I watched 4 races.
Ryan Blaney won Talladega. Kevin Harvick nearly won and then was DQ'd. Rally Championship was closed, and Marc Marquez was on the podium. Is that about it? Did we?
Esteban Latifi crashed 19 kilometers into his stage. Elfyn Evans won 2 stages. Ott Tanak won 7 stages. Ott Tanak, the day after winning a rally for Ford, announced that he is leaving Ford and going back to Hyundai just 12 months after leaving them for Ford. It's not the first time he's done this. He did announce in 2019, the week after he won a championship with Toyota, that he was leaving to go to Hyundai. He likes to
timing.
His timing is, he really likes to like peak and then just like surprise everyone and backhand them. British Superbike, tons of drama. Race 2 championship rivals and Beer Monster Ducati teammates Tommy Bridewell and Glenn Irwin crashed into each other in race 2. Tommy Bridewell went into the back of Glenn Irwin, sent them spiraling. Tommy Bridewell's getting a 3-place grid penalty for the final round of the British Superbike season at Donington Park. Glenn Irwin got 3 license penalty points for unsportsmanlike conduct and interfering with a marshal post-race. He kind of went over and yelled at Tommy Bridewell, who was in the fetal position on the ground.
That's a shame.
Which means that with 105 points left on the table for the final season, or for the finale of the season, 8 riders have a mathematical chance of winning the championship for British Superbike. Tommy Bridewell, Glenn Irwin, whom I mentioned, Kyle Ryde, Leon Haslam, Lee Jackson, Jason O'Halloran, Josh Brooks, and Christian Idon in World Superbike. Alvaro Bautista is a madman and won the sprint, race 1 and race 2, despite the fact that we got some of the best races on the planet. And, well, frankly, all of them, with Alvaro Bautista won, Toprak Razgatlioglu in 2nd. Jonathan Ray podiumed, got 3rd in race 1. Andrea Locatelli came 3rd in the sprint race, and then Michael Ruben Rinaldi came 3rd in race 2. Alvaro Bautista extends his championship lead. MotoGP, super exciting. Japanese Grand Prix, always a good one at Motegi. Everyone loves that. Cal Crutchlow was a wild card. That was kind of the most interesting thing that happened this weekend, other than the fact that Jorge Martin kind of mopped the floor with everybody. Cal Crutchlow came in, pretty much told Yamaha that they're doing everything wrong and that they're developing the bike wrong.
Cal Crutchlow did?
Cal Crutchlow did, and basically came in...
The how many time MotoGP champion?
That would be 0, but 3-time race winner. Let us not forget that Cal Crutchlow. I'd like it noted, he yelled at Yamaha publicly, told him they don't know what they're doing, and then they offered him a 3-year contract extension. So maybe he's right. Basically, he told Yamaha that...
Maybe they're just desperate.
Probably both, because pretty much everything he said makes sense, and it was backed up by statistics and by data from the bikes. Pretty much what he said is that, hey, your 2 factory riders are saying the wrong stuff. They say, give us more power, give us more power, give us more power. And basically with the design of the bike, the Yamaha is the last inline 4 bike on the grid. Everyone else on the grid is a V4, which means the bikes are much narrower and the motor can be sunk much further down.
Right.
Yamaha's the last inline 4, which means just mechanically, just physics-wise, the bike doesn't work as well. So basically, MotoGP is a top speed game these days, and you either get it from throwing more horsepower at the bike or getting more acceleration out of a corner. And in the past 3 years, basically what Yamaha has been doing is throwing top speed at the bike by adding more power to it. And Cal Crutchlow says that's the wrong thing to do. You've made a really peaky bike, and it's really easy to get wheel spin out of a corner, and that's why we're not doing well. Right, so pretty much everything he said was correct. Yeah, pretty much it's a rear traction game is everything, and that's why the Ducatis have suddenly become so fast, as they have both top-end power and acceleration.
His biggest Achilles heel was they've always been the fastest in the straight line.
In the straights, but in the corners they haven't been able to hang. So, and obviously they figured it out in the past 2 years. So that's what Cal Crutchlow said. They offered him a 3-year extension on the contract, and basically what he said is Yamaha needs to figure out their testing schedule
so they're
better.
They're like, yes, slap me harder.
Yep. So basically they offered him a contract extension, and he said yes if you fix your testing schedule, because he had both a 9-week and a 14-week gap between testing when he was on the bike. Crazy big gaps where Yamaha just isn't capitalizing on having a test rider that they're paying for. And while, no, Cal Crutchlow is not a Danny Pedrosa of the world or any other more successful MotoGP rider. I only bring up Danny Pedrosa because he's a recent wild card and test rider, whatever, you understand. But basically, while he is not the most successful MotoGP rider of all time, he's very experienced, and he raced for 3 different teams, so he understands what's good, what works, and what doesn't. So Cal Crutchlow is vital for that team.
Dump a bike.
He's also good at that, but that's important because he knows, hopefully, how not to do that from that. So hopefully next year, Alex Rins and Fabio Quartararo can figure something out on that bike. I give Yamaha another year or two before they switch to a V4, or just scrap the whole MotoGP program completely. GP1.com put out a statement saying that Augusto Fernandez will make room for Pedro Acosta in KTM in 2024. The 26-year-old will have to step back after a single year in MotoGP to allow the Moto2 championship leader to side Pol Espargaro on Team Gas. This has not been confirmed by MotoGP or by Gas or by Pedro Acosta or by KTM. It's heavily rumored by no one, but I have seen this article floating around a lot on Instagram and on Reddit and on X and on a couple other things, so I don't know, it could be one of those just made-up articles. However, KTM does have a history of hiring rookies. They're not Valentino Rossi in their first year, and then they kick them to the curb, basically. They're kind of well-sponsored by Red Bull in that way.
We gave you an average bike, and you didn't win everything on it?
And you didn't win everything? Yeah. Be gone. So Augusto Fernandez, who's currently beating his teammate, yes, Pol Espargaro was out for like 8 rounds, but currently actually doing quite well. He's 11th in the championship. There's 8 Ducatis on the grid. Give the kid a break. He's actually doing quite well. But rumored to be kicked off the Gas team for next year to make room for Pedro Acosta. Pedro Acosta, who desperately needs a seat. I assumed that Pol Espargaro was going to retire. The dude had a huge accident this year. He was in the hospital for like 3 weeks. He's getting old. I assumed that he was going to retire and then take up like reserve driver test rider position at KTM. I'm assuming they'd give him money to do that. And then bring in Pedro Acosta. Pedro Acosta would do a year on the Gas, and then the lesser of the 2 KTM riders at the end of next year would either be bumped down to Gas or kicked to the curb, and Pedro Acosta would move up, and Pedro Acosta will win 17 championships in a row.
Of course.
Nick Patty, that's all I have for Motorsport. Is that anything else from you?
No.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a dilemma. That dilemma's named Nicholas Patty.
Wow. All right. Listen. That's uncalled for.
Inaccurate, though?
I said uncalled for. I meant
okay. So, basically, the time has come for Nick to sell the Cayman. For various reasons. That's not important. The point is that Nick is selling the Cayman. And Nick is looking for a quirky yet practical functional vehicle and has landed on this.
Before you say it, I am so strapped for practicality that the only way in which it can be unique and quirky cool is what will be mentioned.
I'd like it noted, both of you have functioned this whole time without having a practical vehicle. Haven't died.
Been able to do what we've wanted to do.
Well, but what you want to do is have a cool car, Nick. So you won't be able to do that anymore if you buy a right-hand drive CRV.
Well, there it is. The cat's out of the bag.
I'm just saying. Nick, no one listens to this show. It doesn't matter. But Nick is looking for an interesting vehicle. And I'm trying to figure out a way to spin this off into an episode for the next, I don't know, however long.
So here's the thing, guys. So Cayman. A lot of things are imminently.
Nick bought a depreciated old sports car is what he's trying to say.
Thank you. I don't know how that, got lost in my mind.
Just say it. I'm giving the cliff notes for the people.
Right, for the people. So
yeah, the spark notes.
Long story short, I've been on Facebook Marketplace more than I've ever intended or ever wanted to be.
Oh, welcome to the club.
I found imported this year in August, and Ben, I'm sure will have photos up so people can make fun of me.
Oh, absolutely.
A Honda CR-V, which at no point in my entire life have I even realized that it was a CR-V, because when I see them on public roads, it gets lost with the rest of the garbage. But this one's in blue, and it's pretty, and it has gold Pia fog lights and a little brush guard on it, and it's got these really cool wheels that are different, and it's got a wider tread and lower profile tires. And what, Ben?
Keep going. You're good. There's a light bulb above my head. You can't see it. It's out of frame, but it's up there. Keep going. You're good.
And I found a CR-V that was imported from Japan, and it's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, it's cool in the sense that it's right-hand drive, and there's features about it that are weird and wild, like the fact that the digital screen that's infotainment system, yes, is a digital screen from the 90s, but also you can tune into television station frequencies and watch TV on it, because apparently in 90s Japan you were able to watch TV from your car. And it also has a Japanese radar detector, which is
like a new S-Class in that way. Continue.
I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to talk about this on the podcast, because all it's going to be is Ben talking shit when this car has the same interior Ben's Camaro has, plus a TV.
Oh, no, the interior is way nicer than my Camaro.
Minus my glove box. Well, okay.
Yeah, my glove box works.
I haven't bought it yet, but I've agreed to an offer to sell the Cayman. I've agreed to the offer to buy this. It's just a question.
Waiting for both of those things to happen.
Yes. But I think it's pretty neat, and I'm gonna lift it just a wee bit, and I'm gonna put some knobbier tires on it, and it's gonna be a mountain biking right-hand drive. I'm gonna be listening to synthwave at night, thinking I'm him. I drive. I'm kidding. I don't do that.
Yes, you do. It's okay.
So I listen to Motley Crue and Kiss. But yeah, so then Ben and I pre-show we're talking about other cool right-hand drive imported vehicles. Now, granted, there's a lot of them, but under 15 grand, small list.
Small. Very small.
Gives you CRVs and Foresters and a shitty cappuccino.
I was just thinking, why don't you buy a Forester?
That's what I asked you pre-show.
I didn't hear the word Forester. I'm sure you said it.
Here's the only reason I realistically is ground clearance. Because Shelby and I have been intentionally wanting to make our lifestyle more outdoorsy, camping. There's plenty of mountain biking here that's accessible. So, guys, shh. Before you jump on me and say, a CRV is not a 4x4. Yes, I'm aware of that.
Well, that one's not.
This one's not. However, I don't need a 4x4 to just go on a Jeep trail that's got some rocks, okay? Like, I'm not talking insane shit. But stuff that a Forester I could damage in the process of just trying to go from point A to point B over a hump. Like, Foresters are... At least the Foresters that are imported, none of them are imported that are stock or big ride height. They're all slammed is what I'm trying to say, okay? Fuck. I don't know why I'm struggling. Ben, are you going to say something? You're just looking at stuff, and it's making me very uncomfortable.
Oh, I am looking at stuff.
Ben's going to get a Suzuki cappuccino. He's going to sell his Camaro.
It's tempting. It's very tempting.
Why wouldn't you? Fuel mileage.
Not really.
How does it not?
Because you got to rev it to, like, I think that car in fifth gear, because it's a 5-speed, I think fifth gear at 75 miles an hour on the highway, it sits at like 6,000 RPM. Nick, you have to remember the motor in my motorcycle is the same size as that car.
Yes.
It's a 0.6 liter. Small.
You should get a Honda Beat.
Also a 0.6 liter, but mid-engined.
Get one.
Dude, honestly, between a Honda Beat, a Suzuki Cappuccino, and an AutoZone...
Drop a comment in the chat if you're watching this. Which one would you take, a Suzuki Cappuccino or a Honda Beat? And if you don't
an AutoZone AZ1.
Or an AutoZone AZ1. If you don't know what any of those three are,
look them up. They're like the coolest cars ever built.
I'll be posting from Radwood. Oh, by the way, guys, I'll be at Radwood. I mentioned that, but the Huda Pig's going to be there. So,
which is weird because it's like the original cars, not from the 80s or 90s.
Because Mobile One is a sponsor of Radwood.
That makes perfect sense then.
Yes.
I was like, it's based on a car from the 70s and it was built today. There's no 80s or 90s in it.
The car on the flyer is a McLaren F1, so there better be a McLaren F1 out there or I'm going to be mad.
I'd like it noted, though. I think the cover car for Radwood Austin the first year was an EB110 and there was not. I think they just pick a different car every time. I know that Radwood San Francisco and Radwood LA are usually pretty consistent, but that's because Radwood LA is usually Matt Farah's Red Countach.
Right. Well,
just because, they know that there will be a Red Countach there.
I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the phone today with the Radwood guy, and I realized I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I'm familiar with the events, blah, blah, blah. My brother and I had gone out to your Austin one. I was like, we were the ones that brought out the Turbo Cups. And he goes, oh my God. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know y'all. And I was like,
that's like, you're looking around at all your employees. You're like, that's my guy right there. That guy, that's my guy.
Radwood, me, I'm him.
That's my guy.
No, but I was like, man, how the mighty have fallen. I'll be entering in a imported CRV at Radwood. And
basically, they probably drive the same.
So, you know what I'm really excited for, though, is when my garage has both, and I can take the Turbo Cup, and Shelby takes the CRV, and it's like, here is our Radwood garage. You wouldn't be able to tell.
For some reason, that garage is both, crazy diverse, also not diverse at all.
It's not in a good way, yeah.
Somehow, it's incredibly different, because it's like...
One's Japanese, one's German,
one's automatic, one's manual,
one's perfect.
One's front-wheel drive, one's rear-wheel drive.
One's race car, one's street car.
4-door, 2-door.
Both quirky and totally not worth it. That's not entirely true. The Turbo Cup is worth it.
Both quirky and cost way too much money. That's true. That is true of both.
Ben, name a cheaper factory Porsche race car. Oh, none. It is the cheapest.
Dude, 997 Cup cars are worth pennies right now. Have you looked at a 997 Cup car?
When we bought
a 997 Cup car is like $50,000 right now.
When we bought it,
yes,
it was cheap.
Yes, like 4 years ago it was, but like right now,
and rebuilt motor for more speed with Carrillo, however the fuck.
Carrillo.
I say Carrillo because
you're wrong.
I could not.
You put some Carrillo rods in your porch?
I actually could not care.
I know. I understand. Just heads up for the internet. It's Carrillo.
Well, it's also Bonilla. Like Jake Bonilla.
Think Jacob's motor has Carrillo rods.
Yes, it does.
If I remember correctly.
Because I think the only time I've ever had something in common to talk to him about was, hey, those are in the Turbo Cup.
Yeah, those. Not those, but
yeah,
Carrillo rods.
It came out of the same shop.
Transmission in the back, transaxle guys. We got to stick together.
Yeah. But make sure to guys follow us on the socials because I'll be covering Radwood and it's going to be sick. We're also apparently having some drifty dudes do some drifty stuff in Radwood era cars on the track, so that'll be kind of cool. But yeah, so Japanese market cars. I wanted a Stagia, but Ben told me motors go boom boom.
When they go boom boom, they're very expensive to fix.
You know what's funny is when I was looking at the CRV, the guy was like, "So, you a big JDM guy?" And I was like, "No."
I couldn't give a shit. I'll be honest.
I pulled up in a Hellcat. Porsche. Like
pulled up in a Hellcat, head to toe Porsche gear, and he goes, "What is?" What is this? What?
No, I was like, no.
That is the weird dichotomy that is Nick Patty, by the way.
I was like, yeah, but I was looking at Stagias, but my buddy, I was like, told me they go boom. I was like, so I'm not looking for.
Yeah.
It was like the whole point of getting out of the Cayman is repair cost, and a Stagia apparently isn't it. And he was like,
No.
he goes, oh yeah. And I was like waiting for him to like add some commentary. Nothing, just quiet. But
He's not going to admit that cars that he imports are bad.
so he doesn't import them. That's the thing. So they just got their import license in the spring.
Cool.
And so they've imported like a dozen cars or so.
Yeah.
But in the showroom was some Mitsubishi JDM car that was like a Mitsubishi Galant that was some Japanese market only car.
Mitsubishi Galant VR4.
And then he had an R32 GTR. And then the CRV. And I was like, I am in rarefied air.
Actually a GTR?
Yes, actually.
Oh, cool.
But
there's a guy here in Bernie who has 6 R32s. I think none of them GTRs.
why doesn't he just sell 3 of them and go get a GTR?
Because he doesn't like how much GTRs cost and how much GTR parts cost. Like a GTR transmission alone, I think is $11,000 for a used one.
Did you ever think, Ben, we'd get to the point where a bunch of lonely single men who watch cartoons to get themselves some momentary fleeting pleasure would drive the cost of vehicles up so high that car enthusiasts couldn't have them?
Actually, this is a whole separate conversation that
Perfect.
we
We
need
have
to
a whole episode with nothing to talk about.
Well, no. For starters, I found something to talk about. But quick sidetrack before we get to that.
Okay, yes.
You've never seen The Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
How do you live with you? How do you function as a human being? Like, how do you, like, breathe and stuff? I don't understand.
Because I have taste.
Yet you're buying a CRV.
Yeah, it's called being contrarian. 993 RSs weren't as cool as they are now 15 years ago, but Steve Patty had one. So...
CRV market, watch this space, people. Watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space.
Okay,
To be
but
fair, though, to be perfectly fair,
to be fair,
I will be probably one of the first 3 people in the country to have a right-hand drive CRV. Because everything you said about that being a pointless, why would you buy it? Exactly. So why would someone import it?
because there's some people who don't care if cars are actually good and just want to drive them to be interesting.
This one just turned 25. So...
True, so it's barely importable.
Exactly.
Actually, I wonder... No, maybe a CRV is easier to import, because we could buy them here, just not right-hand drive. That might be okay. Because I know you can import, like... You could buy, like, newer Jeep Wranglers. Like, I know that there's a couple Jeep Wranglers in Bernie that are, like, 2015 Jeep Wranglers that are right-hand drive that people imported from South America and stuff, and they're, like, perfectly okay to have here. So maybe CRVs are able to do... Maybe they're not, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You better not ruin this for me, Ben.
I don't know these things. I planned to ruin it for you. Okay, but if you buy a right-hand drive car, you have to watch the first 4.
No.
Dude,
No.
you have to.
I have watched enough Top Gear to warrant me having a right-hand drive car.
Nah, Top Gear is meaningless and pointless compared to the Fast and the Furious. I don't even know who that Jeremy Clarkson guy is. You have to simply to understand. I don't say you have to like them. Nick Patty, Ben Walther, think that every Fast and the Furious movie ever made is a dumb movie. They're all dumb. And everyone who likes them also thinks they're dumb. But it started a movement, and it is...
Nicholas Patty.
And the Fast and the Furious movies are the single reason... Well, Fast and Furious movies are the singular reason
that
why JDM cars are popular in this country.
Correct.
So if you're going to be a JDM hot boy, you got to understand and watch the movies. At least the first 4.
I solemnly swear.
In the 5th one, they become James Bond movies, and you don't need to watch them anymore.
I solemnly swear that I will watch the first 4 Fast and the Furious movies only and only when Ben flies out to Arizona and we watch them together.
I'll do that. That's fine.
Okay. But I'm not watching it soon.
That's fine, because I want to see you experience the garbage that is Fast and the Furious. The first one is really something because they didn't expect it to be popular.
Okay.
So, like, they didn't really set up the first one to go anywhere after that. Like, they set it up to be a singular movie, and then they were like, oh my gosh, this is really popular. We should make 9 more of these things. So...
Paul Walker died? Nah, let's keep milking this cash cow.
Hey, they got through 7 before that happened, okay? But, to be fair, like, the first 4... don't really have anything to do with each other. Like, you could watch them all separately and they make just as much sense.
Because it's not a story.
It's not a story until the 5th one. The 5th one is when they start tying everything together, but they're also all out of order. Like, technically the order of the movies, it's kind of like a whole Star Wars... It's like a...
my brain.
No. It's like a Star Wars thing. Like, they came out...
It's not. It's
the
really
order which they came out is not the chronological order of the movies, technically.
When compared Fast and Furious to Star Wars, I am also going to say I'm not getting a CRV, I'm getting a right-hand drive Toyota 2000 GT. Because that's about as good of an analogy as you just made.
Yeah, in the sense that they're both right-hand drive. That's the only connection to them. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing Fast and Furious to Star Wars, just in the weird sense that the order that they came out is not the order.
Nick buys JDM market only Toyota 2000 GT.
All Toyota 2000 GTs were JDM market only.
Oh, were they? Well...
Yep. Nick Patty buys 2000 GTs, the same title. But, like, I think if memory serves me right, they all blur into one movie. I think the correct order of the movies is, like, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 4, and then the rest of them are pointless.
I thought it was, I don't care, they're all bad. No?
Yes, they're all bad, but you're buying a JDM car, so you're required by law to watch them all.
No, I'm not.
You are. You are. I will ban you from the podcast if you don't watch them.
I've already said I will watch them only when you come down here. In fact,
we're gonna
watch them on my TV in the
Yes. We're going to watch 4 movies consecutively. We're going to get up, go through a drive-thru in a right-hand drive car, get breakfast.
In and out, yeah.
And then spend all day in the car watching the Fast and the Furious movies on the screen.
Talk about an authentic viewer experience.
Dude, it's like one of those dumb... It's like one of the YouTube... It's like spending 24 hours in a drive-thru or whatever. It's like, yeah, spending 9 hours watching crappy movies in a right-hand drive CRV. It's like the longest YouTube title ever. But everyone's like, why would you... I mean, sure, whatever. There we go. Perfect.
It's a niche for somebody.
Yeah, someone's bound... The JDM car community is weird. They'll watch it for sure.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So now that we've covered the fact that Nick needs to watch Fast and Furious movies, by the way, we're going to do a separate episode at some point because I had like a 5-minute break today. I was coming up with podcast episode ideas because we're approaching that time in the calendar in which we start to run out of motorsports and we have to talk about other things. So I've been coming up with podcast episodes, and at some point we will debate automotive movies at some point, all of them, because I've put together a list and I think collectively we've seen all of them. As far as the list that I've
most of them
collected.
Did you see the Steve McQueen Lost footage?
No. What is this?
So, also check your text messages. So, Steve McQueen. Apparently, there's a YouTube documentary that had some footage in it from a movie that Steve McQueen was working on that never got finished. And that movie had onboard in Panavision camera quality in the middle of a Formula One race in 68 around the Nordschleife.
Jesus, cool.
It was going to be a Formula One movie in the style of Le Mans, in the sense that it was real. And it never got like finished. But there's
that's rad
on it. Yeah. So, anyways,
cool. Well, quick topic for today. So, for those of you that don't know, importing cars into the United States is kind of a pain because we have pretty strict safety laws as far as bumpers and crash ratings and all that stuff. So, you're not allowed to import a car until it's 25 years old if it was never sold in this country. So I found a quick list, 12 awesome cars finally legal to import in 2023. And we're going to start off with a banger, Roof Turbo R Limited. Which is a pretty special 993 variant. You can finally import those here. Something I'm more excited about, Peugeot 306 Rally, which is super cool. Another homologation special car. Homologation specials are cool. We never got them here. Nick, don't roll your eyes. You're buying a CRV.
Like I said, homologation special.
Possibly the most interesting car, the Plaxton President. Nick, Patty, do you know what a Plaxton President is?
No, I'm going to look it up.
It's the London double-decker bus. You can import London double-decker buses, which I think would be so fun to import and then do like a cross-country road trip in a double-decker bus with like 15 of your friends.
And a lot of booze.
So, of course, only for the people not driving. Of course, my lawyer has informed me that only for the people not driving. Plaxton President, which is, I believe the Plaxton President is actually the current double-decker bus, and that's why. Double-decker buses have been around forever. Rover 75, no one cares. R34 GTRs, pretty cool. You can officially import the GTRs. We've been able to import the GTTs and GTSTs for a year or two now, but we can finally import GTRs. It's actually really funny because the date was in August. It was like August 4th or something like that was the first date that you could import one here. And it was real fun going to Facebook and Craigslist or whatever, because you could find a couple of them on there of dudes that have just been sitting on them in the United States for 2 or 3 years. And they were like, freshly imported R34 GTR. And it's like, that's been sitting in the back of your warehouse, Tom, for 5 years. Shut up. I know you've had it. Just sell it. No one's going to be upset. R34 GTRs you can finally buy here, which is super cool. Widely regarded as the best looking of the getters. Ascari Ecose. Nick, do you have any idea what this is? You know what Ascari is, the car company.
Yeah.
Okay, good looking car. Definitely where the MP412C got some inspiration by. I'm looking at you, Mr. Side Vent. So, Ascari, English supercar manufacturer, BMW V8, pretty cool. Wheels are pretty trash. It's very, well, frankly, it's very 90s. But that side vent might as well. If you showed me a picture of just that side vent, I would tell you it's an MP412C. It's a pretty cool looking car. I think Ascaris are interesting cars. They're kind of like spikers. It's like, I wouldn't own one, but I'm glad someone else will. Nick, the Kia Retona can be imported. It's like a Kia Jeep looking thing. Sure. If you're looking for a quirky 4x4, may I recommend the Kia Retona. Please don't buy one of those. The McLaren F1. Oddly enough.
Honda CRV.
Kind of the same thing, as it's like you could buy them here, but the ones you couldn't buy here, they are here. And you know what, Nick? Interesting thing that you got, the McLaren F1s don't. Right-hand drive car. All McLaren F1s, none of them right-hand drive. That's shame, really.
Honestly, I'm really glad you pointed it out, because
Nick Patty 1, Gordon Murray 0. That's what I'm saying. Mitsubishi Pajero IO. Just a different off-road variant of it. Pajeros are super cool. I'd love to own a Pajero as a daily at one point. There's actually a Pajero Mini in San Antonio for sale right now. It's got 30,000 miles on it. It's $8,000. Kind of about it. It's super cool.
So dumb.
I really want one. I think it'd be like the great daily if you own 3 other cars. I think that's what it is. Because, it's like a Jeep, but crappy and small. And it has a top speed of 85 miles an hour. But they were super cool. I just think they look...
CRV is stupid?
You could buy a CRV in this country. You can't buy a Pajero in this country. The problem, Nick... No, never mind. But Pajero...
Say it, because I gotta go for dinner. So say it.
The problem is you can walk past your CRV and someone go, oh, look, a blue CRV. And then they just walk away.
No. They'd be like, wait, why is there a third mirror? I don't understand. That must not be from here.
Some poor high schooler bolted a third mirror onto the fender of his CRV. Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 5 can now be imported here. Super cool. There's a bunch of Evo 4s in Bernie, actually. AC Ace, which is actually super cool. AC, the company that made the bodies that made the car that became the Cobra. That car was originally called the Ace, and now there was a 90s version of it before AC kind of disappeared into oblivion. And you can buy it They look kind of cool. I'm assuming they're not good because they're British and from the 90s, but you can import one if you're into that sort of thing. Maserati 3200 GT, we got them here called the Grand Coupe, not necessary to buy. That's kind of it. Yes, Mr. Patty.
I have to go to dinner.
Okay. Well, since Mr. Patty has to go to dinner and then go buy a right-hand drive CRV, that's going to do it for kind of a really weird, chaotic episode 80.
There's going to be another one for when I have the CRV, and I might honestly just watch the podcast from my TV in my car. And
that's pretty good. I quite like that. That's pretty good. So the fact that it has a TV in the dash is cool. I don't care if it's a Camry, that's cool. If you put a TV in the dash, that's cool. To be fair, Camaro has a TV in the dash. But that's going to do it for now until Nick buys a CRV. And then whenever Nick buys a CRV, that's going to end the podcast forever until he watches the Fast and the Furious movies, because I'm banning Nick from the Actually, I'm just going to get other people on the podcast. We're just going to do strictly guest episodes until Nick watches all 10 of the Fast and the Furious movies. And then we will resume the podcast. But until next time, that's going to do it from us here at the Clutch Dump for episode 80. We'll see you next time.